Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka a day. Today's Shloka number 3 of chapter 9. Ashraddhadhana Purusha
Ashraddhadhana Purusha
Dharmasyasya Parantapa
Dharmasyasya Parantapa
Aprapya Mam Nivartante
Aprapya Mam Nivartante
Mrityu Samsara Vartmani.
Mrityu Sansara Vartmani.
But for meaning, translation, and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ashraddhadhana,
Ashraddhadhana,
those who are faithless.
those who are faithless.
Purushaha,
Purushaha,
such persons.
such persons.
Dharmasya,
Dharmasya,
toward the process of religion.
toward the process of religion.
Asya,
Asya,
this. Parantapa,
Parantapa,
O killer of the enemies.
O killer of the enemies.
Aprapya,
Aprapya,
without obtaining.
without obtaining.
Mam,
Mam,
me. Nivartante,
Nivartante,
come back.
come back.
Mrityu,
Mrityu,
of death.
of death.
Samsara,
Samsara,
in material existence.
in material existence.
Vartmani,
Vartmani,
on the path.
on the path.
Translation: those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me.
Those who are not faithful in this devotional service cannot attain me.
O conqueror of enemies.
O conqueror of enemies.
Therefore they return to the path of birth and death in this material world.
Therefore they return to the path of birth and death in this material world.
Yes, Hare Krishna. So the point that the Lord is making here is that faith is a necessary element. It's a foundation of practicing bhakti. So in the previous shloka, the Lord has glorified bhakti as the only option by which you can reach the Golok Dham in a speedy way. Here, the Lord is talking about faith. Without faith in the Supreme Lord, you're going to get caught up in the cycle of birth and death. Therefore, faith is necessary to practice bhakti. So in the last two verses, which is shloka 1 and 2, the Lord promised knowledge and then qualified it with the 8 merits that we read about in the shloka yesterday. It is mentioned here as this dharma, or the path of loving devotion to God. So no matter how wonderful the knowledge and how effective the path may be, it remains useless if one refuses to actually walk on that path. So a lot of us may hear how bhakti yoga is the most sublime, but we may not choose to practice it for whatever reason. So as explained in the previous verse, the direct perception of the Lord comes later. It begins with faith, followed by practice. Initially, a leap of faith is required to begin the process. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, there is this 9-stage process that is talked about by Sri Arupa Goswami. Adau Shraddha Tatah Sadhu Sangota Bhajana Kriya Tato Nartha Nivritti Syat Tato Nishtha Ruchistatha Atha Shaktis Tato Bhavas Tatah Prema Bhyudhanchati Sadakhanam Ayam Premnah Pradhur Bhave Bhavet Kramaha. In the beginning, Sri Arupa Goswami says, there must be faith. Then one becomes interested in associating with pure devotees. Thereafter, one is initiated by the spiritual master and executes the regulative principles under his orders. Thus, one is freed from all unwanted habits and becomes firmly fixed in devotional service. Thereafter, one develops taste and attachment. This is the way of sadhana bhakti, the execution of devotional service according to the regulative principles. Gradually, emotions intensify, and finally, there is an awakening of love. This is the gradual development of love of Godhead for the devotee interested in Krishna consciousness. We talked about sadhana bhakti, and then those who develop spontaneous love for the Lord. So the vast majority of the Jivatmas will have to follow the process of sadhana bhakti, where an acharya lays out the process for which you should pay heed to. You have to follow the instructions of the acharya, and you begin your journey of gradual development of love of Godhead. So it begins with faith. And how is this faith developed? It's developed only in the association of devotees. That is why association is so important. Faith is not developed on its own. Faith is actually developed in the company of fellow Vaishnavas. So unfortunate people, even after hearing all the evidence of Vedic literature from great personalities, still have no faith in God. They are hesitant and cannot stay fixed in the devotional service of the Lord. Thus, faith is the most important factor for progress in Krishna consciousness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said that faith is the complete conviction that simply by serving the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna, one can achieve all perfection. That is called real faith, Prabhupada writes. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Yatha taror mula nishechanena triptyanti taskanda bhujau pashakhaha pranopaharacha yatendriyanam tataiva sarvahanam achyutejya. By giving water to the root of a tree, one satisfies its branches, twigs, and leaves. And by supplying food to the stomach, one satisfies all senses of the body. Similarly, by engaging in transcendental service of the Supreme Lord, one automatically satisfies all the demigods and all other living entities. So therefore, you don't have to worship another personality. You don't have to worship the demigods. Simply by worshipping Krishna, you please and satisfy everyone. Prabhupada writes, therefore, after reading the Bhagavad Gita, one should promptly come to the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita. One should give up all other engagements and adopt the service of the Supreme Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. If one is convinced of this philosophy of life, that is faith. Those who have no faith, even after hearing about Krishna and the excellence of devotional service, who think that it is simply eulogy. Eulogy means just praising and some kind of practice, find the path very difficult, even if they are supposedly engaged in devotional service. For them, there is very little hope of gaining perfection. Thus, faith is very important in the discharge of devotional service. So the 9 paths in the progress of bhakti. So this is also called love for the Supreme Lord, but your love also goes through stages of maturity. And that love for the Lord begins with Shraddha, faith, which we just read in those 2 shlokas of Srila Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So faith is followed by association with devotees. So as long as you're associating with devotees, your faith will continue to develop. And in the company of devotees, you learn how to perform devotional service, which is called Bhajana Kriya. And as you perform your Bhajana Kriya, and as you continue your association with devotees, you reach the next stage, which is called Anartha Nivritti, which is the decrease of unwanted material desires. You then get to the stage that is called Nishtha, which is steadiness in your practice. Your practice doesn't oscillate based on whether you're traveling or whether some incident happens in your personal life. Your practice stays steady. No matter what happens, your chanting will go on, your reading will go on, your hearing will go on. Then you reach the stage where you've developed ruchi, taste for practicing Krishna consciousness. And you develop asakti, attachment for the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, which then reaches the stage of love. and which is called bhava, and finally to the stage of Krishna prema, which is pure love for Krishna. So even in our practice of sadhana bhakti, we can observe us going through some of these stages. Nishta is definitely a stage that all of us can reach. This taste, attachment, love, and pure love for Krishna, it may take a few more lifetimes. If we are fortunate to associate with pure devotees, and if we are fortunate to have taken initiation from a bona fide spiritual master, then it's possible to reach the stage of prema also in one lifetime. So these are the stages of faith and love for the Supreme Lord, and everything is hinging on faith. And faith is developed in the association of fellow devotees.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.